Hey beautifuls, if you're joining me, you are probably moving through a new calendar year, new season, or maybe you are just choosing your own personal timeline to commit back into your true desires. So in this video, I'm going to be chatting with you my 5-step formula that I use to commit to, but also stick to the desires that I'm choosing to take action on, still with a little bit of playfulness and still with some intention. So let's get into it. So if you're joining me in the new year, as you can probably see, uploaded end of January, I'd like to preface this with how I choose to move through my cycles and my seasons, and what my beliefs are is that really I believe a new calendar year begins in the spring equinox, as many people do believe if you follow a bit more natural cycles, maybe a bit more through like the little pagan realm. However, there is something to be said about a new calendar year because of its practicality and also the collective energy that surrounds it, just with, more of a progressive timeline that we can tune into to really begin to track our progress, and also just this collective feeling that it is a reset. So when we are in the Northern Hemisphere here in the middle of January, choosing to take action on our goals, on our desires, sometimes we may be stuck and stagnant because the natural rhythm that we are seeing in our external reality is actually more in alignment with hibernation and slowness. So for my first offering into the new year, I would like to just allow yourself to give yourself permission. So with that being said, give yourself permission to progress slowly into taking action, progress slowly into moving forward in your desires. And that's what this entire 5-step formula is all about. It's more about the feeling rather than the bigger picture. So when this video comes out, statistically, 80% of us that have chosen a New Year's resolution would have fallen off already. I believe that it is because when we are making New Year's resolutions, the 4 most popular resolutions of 2024, this is researched or referenced by Forbes, it is to improve the fitness, improve finances, improve mental health, and improve our diet. So we see that these resolutions are such a broad spectrum here. So many of us look at it zoomed out of the lens of our daily reality. So my formula is really to take a look at the bigger picture, however, zoom into a lens where we can take bite-sized pieces and slowly integrate steps into our daily routine so we can celebrate small wins while also moving forward into a longer-term goal, which is also necessary for a longer-term goal because that also stretches our capacity and invites in different ways in how we can reach this more generalized goal that we may have for the year and break it down into these small steps. So I'm just going to take a little sample of the improved finances resolution that many people do have and break it down here. We're going to break it down in 3 steps, 2 goals, and 1 fulfillment. First, we have to look at 3 smaller goals and how we can create improved finances. So for me, my 3 areas that I'd like to work on is to market more of my plethora of services more, and that includes my beauty services. Creating a weekly prosperity ritual. This is something that we can feel good to show up for, something that may still stretch our capacity because we're meeting ourselves in a different sense. However, it's something we can still feel excited to kind of create as our own me time, so to say. And then the 3rd goal I'm I'm placing is to create different systems of my income, as I have multiple different streams of income. Take those 3 smaller goals and break them down into smaller bite-sized goals. Weekly prosperity ritual. What is going to be encapsulated in that goal? What is my goal of that ritual? Organize my finances and give myself grace in those practices. And then what is the desired goal of this entire improvement of finances? How will I feel fulfilled? What will fulfill me when I am choosing to move forward on these goals? So I will feel fulfilled by creative expression, as many of my streams of income are very much tied into being creative. So I'm attaching a feeling of fulfillment into every single resolution that I have, so I can really begin to feel into and embody what my desired outcome is. So a little sneak peek that 4 out of 5 of these formulas is really based on feeling. We really have to begin to be intentional with what we are embodying, what we are ingesting, to have the energy, to have the capacity to move forward and achieve these bigger goals for ourselves. So now, what is the formula? How do we actually stick to these little steps that we've created for ourselves? And how are we going to be intentional about it? As I said at the beginning of the video, I choose to really be in rhythm and in flow with the different seasons. So if you are here for the new year, or at any point in time when we are coming into a rebirth, when we are rebirthing ourselves, because when we are choosing new goals for ourselves, there are parts of self that has to die, that has to grow. So this rebirth process we slowly sink into is the winter season of slowing down and actually being honest with ourselves. What do we need to change? Is there shadow parts of the self that we still feel very attached to that may be holding us back from really allowing ourselves to achieve the greater picture in life? Reflect on this and be truthful with yourself, because that is where you can gain empowerment and strength to implement further changes for the self. Meditate with yourself in why. What is the why? Why are you choosing these goals, these desires for self? How is it going to serve you, your community? Because when we can get clear on how it is going to impact our external reality, we can become more in alignment with the channel and energy that's necessary to call in our manifestations. So next step is journaling, moving into the spring season of our planning, actually planting seeds. So I always recommend get a new journal for every single year, whether you're putting personal desires in this, whether you're doing planning, whatever it may be. I just love looking back at a journal every single year just to see the progress, and even sometimes those cringe moments that you write and you're like, was I really upset about that? But here we are. Recognizes how much we've grown in the year. So this will be where we journal our desires, our emotional income, our outcome, I should say, and also our material outcome as well. And I also like to share in how we are going to break down how we are going to feel nourished once again, right? Why are we choosing these manifestations? Break it down into how the mind, the body, and spirit will be nourished. Because of course, all 3 must be in balance for us to be in harmony. So just tuning in to how the mind, the body, and the spirit will be nourished. Also, just allow this journaling to be free-flowing. Try not to move into the logical mind, Virgo here, of how am I going to get to that space? What do I actually need to do to do this? Because a lot of the times that how, what, why can become an obstacle just within the mind, can block us from actually seeing how miracles can happen within life, and just seeing how choosing a path intentionally each day will guide us towards what we are desiring, no matter in which way it's going to choose to come to us. So staying out of the logical mind, just allowing yourself to really daydream, which also brings me to number 3, creating an intentional ritual. A ritual is just a habit that we can choose daily, monthly, weekly to tune into. So choosing to be intentional and creating a slight ritual will help enrich our actions and embodiment of the empowerment that we are empowering into our manifested reality. Choose to either have some cacao that I have here. If you don't have cacao, you can always grab a tea. And we want to be almost as if we're infusing our desires into a materialized object. So using the water molecules from our drink and really infusing that into our vision that we may have by, just gently blowing on it like you're blowing on a hot chocolate. Holding it close to the heart space. This is helping us to materialize our desires into our reality and then ingest it again so we can become just a bit more programmed into how and intuitively where we must move so these desires can manifest. If you're interested in doing a meditation, highly recommend with the cacao. I'll try to link below 2 different meditations I have up on YouTube here that you can tune into to begin to visualize yourself through your manifestations and communing with the cacao. Another tip to help program within the mind is vision boarding. I know a lot of people are into this. However, it really does make a difference when we can actually see and remind ourselves every day with what we are working toward. So when I am allowing myself to daydream and offer a vision board, I use Canva, and then I can place my photos with a link. So then if I click on the photo within my saved photo, it will take me to a link. So whether that's for a material item that I'm desiring, if there's any certain blog that will help me infuse my intention into my manifestations, this is a really good idea, because then you can also save your vision board on your phone screen in the background, your iPad, whatever it may be. And then you can also print it off too. So this step, take as long as it feels good for you. Really allow yourself to sink in and just have fun with researching and referencing some photos that you really feel connect with your energy. So the last step is to actually now be logical. So we went through all the feelings, all the vibes, and now we are going to place a plan into action. This is now the summer season, being in full bloom and really doing that back end work where you can feel like you can actually show up and feel empowered to be self-motivating and taking action on your goals. Once again, this may take 3 days from now, this may take 3 weeks from now. Just allowing yourself the time that it needs to fully open and integrate all the past self, all of what you are choosing in this moment to be your resolution. And just remember to flow and be open with change and give yourself permission in receiving these blessings, which so many people can forget about the receiving end of things. So now that we feel full and open and alive, we can also now harvest the benefits of the small changes that we are implementing. the fall season. So a few little tips to help you feel more motivated and feel good about showing up is, once again, the celebrations. And celebrating yourself isn't something material. It's not something you have to go spend money on, but celebrating yourself is maybe finding a friend that you feel comfortable in sharing your small wins with. And then maybe celebrating yourself. Maybe that includes some sort of self-care activity that you may do at the end of the day, the end of the week, whatever you are choosing in your own personal timeline to sink into, maybe a bath, maybe a 10-minute longer shower, whatever it may be, that you feel that you can treat yourself to in a non-commercialized way. And also just creating a small to-do list for yourself every day. You can do this on just your notes on your phone. I use Notion, and just ticking off everything that you have done within the day, even if it seems like it's the smallest little task. If that feels good and you only have capacity to do a small task, place that in your to-do list so you can tick it off and recognize that you check something off every day. And always checking it off. I was listening to a Jay Shetty podcast, and he was talking about, our minds are programmed to believe when something is crossed out, it means that it's bad or no longer being used. So when we are checking things off of the list, that just programs the mind to celebrate those small wins. So wherever I'm meeting you on your journey of really manifesting your desires, really creating more self-motivation, whether it's from a larger, fully life-changing task, or just those smaller daily rituals that you're setting for yourself, I thank you for being with me, and I am sending you so much love, so much gentleness, and just sending also gratitude to you for tuning in and also taking these steps to grow and alchemize whatever is necessary to move forward. And I trust this chapter will come to you easily and abundantly. If you would like to set more intentions, I offer a free intentional virtual ceremony every single month around the full moon. Feel free to tune into that with the link below that I will offer there for you. And please RSVP if you do choose to join us virtually every month. Thank you. See you next time.